While most of us are still in bed, excuse me, this Sunday morning, in the Melbourne outer suburb of Frankston, something like 7,000 runners will be setting off in what has been described as one of Australia's biggest marathons. Robin Thompson spoke with two of the more unusual entrants.
You know, there's one thing I've never quite been able to understand, and that is why seemingly sane adults constantly inflict enormous strain and pain on themselves, all in the pursuit of running in a marathon. This is not the story of Robert de Castella or even Cliff Young. It's about your average, everyday Australian son who set his sights on running in a marathon. And he's doing just that on Sunday. 31-year-old Jeff Starkey teaches history in the Victorian country town of Euroa. He took up jogging about 3 years ago after a pretty heavy session with a mate in the local pub.
I don't know who originally offered the idea that we do a marathon together. It was decided on that night to do it, and a pact was signed, and we kept it up for 10 months.
Since that fateful night, he's completed 3 marathons, including one in a tiny English village he just happened to stumble upon during his holidays. It takes about 6 months, 2,500 kilometres, and a barrel of Denker rub to warm up for this gruelling event. And although Jeff admits it's not all downhill, he strongly believes it's well within the capabilities of most of us.
Well, I don't regard myself as anybody special. In fact, I'd say I'm pretty ordinary as things come. Set yourself a program to work to over a number of months, starting with a minimum amount of kilometres a week, maybe about 30 kilometres a week, even less if it depends upon the shape that you're in, and then gradually work up.
Of course, the inevitable has to be asked, and despite endless hours of pondering while he jogs down lonely tracks, Jeff still has trouble explaining why he does it.
Certainly there's an element of vanity in it. It's nice sort of saying that you're a marathon runner, that you've done so many marathons, and people sort of hold you in awe as a result, or think that you're crazy. Goal achievement is probably the biggest thing.
It also takes sheer guts, plenty of discipline, and maybe just a touch of madness, just to make it to the starting line. But he says it's all worth it on the day. The blood races, the heart pounds, and the feet take off as the starter fires his gun. It's a far cry from those leisurely jogs around the Strathbogie ranges.
Instead of hearing one set of footsteps, you're hearing something in the order of 6,000. And you just get pushed along by the euphoria, the excitement from the day. The wit that our fellow runners have on that day has to be, you have to feel and to be involved and to actually appreciate.
Jeff's feeling pretty good about the run. His best time is 3 hours 23, but he thinks he could run under that unless something goes wrong.
If I felt that there was something wrong, I guess I would stop. Sometimes I feel well, you'd have to see on the day, but I'd say most likely I'd actually stop running.
Now, Jeff won't be the only member of the Starkey family running on Sunday. Further down the track will be his mother, who's competing in her second marathon. She's 50, a full-time music teacher and grandmother. Jean Starkey aligns marathon training to practicing the piano, says it takes a lot of sacrifice and support from friends and relatives, even though they mightn't understand what she's doing.
I think probably they think I'm a little bit weird. I think most marathoners are a little bit weird.
Why do you think that?
Well, when you stop to think of it, to set out and run 42 kilometres for no apparent reason, it is a bit strange, isn't it?
The Starkey Stumblers have entered as a team this year. They've got their tactics and they plan to cross the line together.
Last year, we ran individual marathons, and it would be nice this year, it could possibly be my mother's last marathon, to actually finish the last 10 kilometres or so together.
Robin Thompson reporting on Sunday's big marathon in Melbourne. Good question. Why would you run 42 kilometres?
That's a full marathon. That's the full distance.
I wish I could do it. I've tried. I build up my times, about 5 minutes or something.
Yes,
Beats a bushwalk, old chap.
I've been thinking about it, and I'm still thinking about it.
I noticed that.
But I think that's fantastic for the whole family. And Mrs. Starkey is 50 years old.
Yes, I'm amazed. I can't cope.
Have to see how they go on Monday.
Right. And now to what's coming up. In our next half hour, we look at the Pennington Report and what it means to doctors practicing privately in public hospitals. We also look at the Vietnam veterans. An American expert talks about how they're coping today. And Mike Hamilton wraps up his On the Road series in Tasmania. That's all in the next half hour, right after the news with Eric Waters.
Thank you, Sue. The death toll from